Number one, let's talk about the lack of experience. I've been doing this for 29 years as a successful distributor. But most importantly, here's the biggest advantage that you should look at as to why we don't fall into that. It's not my success, it's my first 7 years of failure. So had I jumped into network marketing, never had a challenge, jumped into a six-figure income, I couldn't relate to 70% of the people who sign up in network marketing. And those are the people who never, ever make more than $500 a month. That's where your money comes from. It doesn't come from $1 million producers. We produce those a dime a dozen. It comes from the people who are making a small income. See, I know what it feels like to sit, to be number 20,500 who comes to the convention and I'm in the nosebleed seats. I know what those people had to do in terms of bringing their little igloo or their little, coolers and pack a lunch because the last money that they spent was on the tickets. So I didn't grow up with the network marketing silver spoon in my mouth. I know what it feels like to drive 14 in a 12-passenger vehicle, 30 hours one way to an event. The 14 of us sleeping in a hotel room when you take the mattresses and put them on the floor and let the ladies sleep on the soft stuff, the guys sleep on the box springs, and then the lowest pins, which was me, slept in the bathroom with my two people. So that's where my success doesn't come from the millions of dollars that I've made. My success comes from my failures and my ability to relate to the masses of the people who's going to take on this thing called network marketing. And so number one, we've got that. So I've got 11 years, my last 11 years was as the number one distributor in network marketing, also running the corporate end as the VP of sales and then the chief visionary officer of a company. That's where I cut my teeth in learning both sides of the coin. I never knew that was going to be instrumental in some of my next move. I never was going to own a network. I said, why would I do something dumb like that? I love my freedom. I make way too much money to subject myself to an office and running a company and stuff like that. No, I want my freedom. And, but when I found this technology and this concept, and it's not the travel technology alone, it's the technology. When I found this, it supplied my vision to say, I can't go take this and give it to some other owner and say, go create the vision for me that I've been dreaming about. And so addressing that, 29 years in the field, 7 years of failure, and then a range of also being at an income level that no other distributor has ever experienced before out of one position. Never had multiple positions. My wife didn't have one. My son didn't have one. My income right now holds the record for the most income residually out of one position. So I also know what it feels like to be at the top echelon. Most importantly, I know what it feels like all in between, in the middle. So number two, if we're talking about experience, where's Lori? People say, well, let's talk about experience. Lori, if you don't mind, come here for a second. I'm going to introduce you guys real quick and some of you may have questions for a little bit later, but my director of travel, okay, right here, Lori Spears. Lori, how long have you been in the travel industry?
I've been in the travel industry for 35 years.
35 years. And just kind of share with them a little of some of what you've accomplished and stuff like that, so people can understand, how to jump the rope from startup to 35 years of experience. Okay.
Absolutely. I've been in the business 35 years. I sit on a lot of boards. I sit on CLIA, that's Cruise Line International Board. I sit on Carnival Cruise Line Board, Norwegian, a couple others. And I know a lot about the travel industry. I've seen a lot of changes in the travel industry. And what I really see right now is there's another change coming, and this is it. It's one thing to have trips and destinations and discounted travel you could take on specific dates, but it's another thing entirely to have a platform that's always going to be below retail, that it's a wholesale because you have to have a membership. That's how you can get that. ethically in the industry. That's the only way you could get those discounts. And it matches none other. And it's just the beginning, because there's so much more that's going to explode with that platform, with the partnership that we have now with Holton Bugs and everybody else that's so eager to make this even be bigger than it could be. I've seen a lot of changes.
But I have a question for you as well, okay? Because I know some people, Ed comes from the travel industry and then he went to a different industry, but he spent a lot of time in travel. So here's my question here. When I started IBuumerang, first thing that I did is I partnered up in an ownership stake of Extreme Travel. Why is it so important for IBuumerang to have a travel agency behind, standing right there with us? And have you seen other network marketing companies do it without travel agencies? And why is it so important to have one?
Yeah, it's very important to have the travel agency. You have the credibility with the industry. You have the partnership. In travel, everything's about partnership and your image and your reputation. It's a very political industry, actually. And when you're in it and you have a stronghold and a reputation that's golden, it goes a long ways for a lot of partnerships, relationships, the ability to get the discounts we get, the ability to get special deals that we get, and just to have the credibility that it's a stronghold, that they know it's not something that's going away. It's a strong industry and it's very diversified. It has a lot of different markets, and to have a travel agency and experience involved in that sits on a lot of the organizations that we're part of, gives you political power and advocacy in the right direction.
So how old has our travel agency been around?
It's 20 years old.
20 years old. How much travel did we do last year?
We did over 100 million.
Okay. And, so the credibility is there, the relationships are there. And so the industry of travel, do they recognize Extreme as a startup?
No, they do not recognize us as a startup. We win awards. I actually just was looking at my phone and got an email. They come to us. We see your growth. We see how you make a difference in the industry. You sit in Congress, you go in front of Congress for different things, advocating for our industry. We want to come visit you. We want to have a partnership with you. What do we need to do? Let's talk about our future together. I just had Pleasant Holidays, a big company, contact me. I get companies contact me like that all the time. They're looking at us as a partnership in an industry that's huge, not just as a startup company. We're together in this.
Awesome. And maybe you guys may have some questions later on for Lori, but I at least wanted to introduce you. They're having lunch over there, but thanks, Lori. I really appreciate you. Watch your step there. I'll give you another one here, guys, from an experience level. And I'll spend a lot of time on this because it's where people go. It's the default. It's the easy default to say of why something may not work. Mark, come here for a second. Mark's sitting over here. Mark is our VP of marketing, and Mark and I, we've known each other since
17 years.
17 years, okay. So Mark understands the startup world. I want you to tell him a little bit about we met through network marketing. Mm-hmm. Mark, I coached Mark to be a six-figure earner in the industry as a distributor, and we kept our relationship. Again, no commissionship, relationship. Mark went off in a different world, start focusing in the business world. I want you to tell them a little bit about what you've done in the startup world over in California, and then I'll tell them how we connected and why you came here to IBuumerang.
Okay, cool. So as Holton pointed out, I met him 17 years ago, and he coached me to become a six-figure earner. And then the network marketing industry was shifting and changing, and it became very product-based. And so I took a step away, and it was more that I was headed in a different direction. And so I became the director of marketing for a startup. Then I became the VP of marketing for another startup. And I was working in the Silicon Valley area for multiple startups and worked with several companies over a period of time. And I heard somebody, talking about startups and asking the question about, is this a startup? Well, I call it a 29-year-old startup. Being in the startup industry, there has never been a team assembled like this one. And I've been in some companies that I've had some very successful exits with. Last company I was with, I was employee number 24. We grew it to 20 plus million in revenue. We got acquired by a multi-billion-dollar organization, stayed on for another 2 years, and thankfully I was able to get out of that situation because it became very corporate, and I'd been working in startups for a number of years. So again, I've seen the startup world. I've worked in the startup world for over a decade, and there's nothing about this that indicates it's a startup. And it starts with this guy right here. And you know what I tell people is this, and you know, he's here right in front of me, but Holton, and I've worked with multiple CEOs. I was an executive. I was at the top levels in these startups. I had, you know, tons of stock options. And these stock options were vesting every year. So that was something that was obviously very nice. Exited, had a very nice exit with a company as well, had equity. And as I worked with these executive and corporate teams, one thing I realized was this, is you get to meet a Holton Bugs maybe once in your life if you're lucky. I've met, you know, and worked with Holton in the past, working with him today and seeing how far and how much he has expanded and who he's become in the process. And as soon as he said, hey, Mark, I want you to be a part of the team, I had signed a contract with another company, a startup in San Francisco. The day before, we had talked for $185 an hour, stock options, all that good stuff. And I called that company back the next day, said, I can't do the contract, and flew out to Houston, met with Holton on Friday, went home and let my wife know that I was quitting my job on Monday. And then, and she said, okay. And here's why she said, okay. She knows Holton too. She's known him just as long as I've known Holton. And she knew that whatever Holton is going to do, it's going to happen. And he's going to stand behind what he does. So I've moved the whole family out here from California about 4 months ago. Everybody's adjusting to the humidity. Things are getting cooler now. In the wine country. So, but I wouldn't miss this for the world. And that's what I want to tell you guys. Don't miss this. Don't miss this.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I'll introduce you guys. I don't know, T. Gray's around here somewhere. Our VP of operations, and who's, oh, there he is right here. Real quick, come over here, T. Gray. I didn't see you over there. We had some people who came in today, and so we've been hosting some people. But you know, T. Gray and I, since was it 2004? Yep. Okay. Can I see you there? Let me. There you go. Okay. So since 2004, and we met then, and same thing. Not only multiple six-figure income earner, but has done multiple six figures and built some huge businesses in two other companies at least, right? Yep. After the first one, yep, where you and I met, and he walked away from the industry and said he would never do the industry again unless there were some certain parameters. I'll let him tell you those parameters. But anyway, T. Gray's, we call him a VPE, our VP of everything, okay? Because we just get stuff done, guys. We just, you know, it's fun. We just get stuff done, and everybody's in love with what they're doing. But what was important to me is to have two of my top executives to have the experience in the field and people who understand my philosophy, who's not going to be bringing, you know, another 6 different network marketing companies' philosophies in. I wanted a unique philosophy, and I wanted people who understood what we were wanting to do and how we want to treat our ambassadors, and they can relate to it as well. And they can train just about anybody in the industry. They can train them off the stage. So we and I say that affectionately because they understand both areas of it. So I want you to just tell them a little bit about, you know, your intro to IBuumerang, and you know, so they see that we got some experience there as well.
No problem. You know, it's an amazing company to be a part of, and like Holton is talking about, the leadership here is like nothing you've ever seen before, and it's crazy. Holton and I were talking about this the other day about how prepared everyone is for their responsibilities. I started out with 17 years of corporate experience before even getting into network marketing. I've been in the advertising industry. I've been in advertising sales. And the last real job I had, I was the senior vice president of business and corporate development for a startup internet company that happened to be one of the top search engines during the internet explosion. I was employee number 26. I've had 7-figure W-2s from that environment. I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I got started in network marketing, and it was bewildering to me that I couldn't make it work, even though I had so much success in corporate. So the best thing that happened is in 2004, 15 years ago, I met Holton Bugs. First, I met our global master ambassador, Edwin Haynes, and he introduced me to Holton Bugs. And the two of them took me on as a mentee and literally taught me the system and the philosophy that has created so much success in Holton's businesses over the past decade plus. And I'm actually living proof that it works in other companies, because when I did go off to do other companies, all I did is exactly what Holton taught me, and I was able to build to the diamond level in other companies as well. But the same thing that Mark was talking about, I felt the decline of the industry. I felt that there was a huge stagnation. The industry wasn't evolving at the pace of the rest of the world. It wasn't keeping up with Amazon and eBay and Google. And I quit the industry 3 years before we started doing this. And Holton continued to be my mentor. And I told him, I said, man, network marketing is in my heart. It's in my blood, but I'll only come back on 2 conditions. Number one, there has to be a company that's doing something totally new, totally revolutionary. It can't be the same old, same old. And number 2, I will only get involved if you are involved. Because the one thing that I learned over the time that I was doing something different is that there's power, there's real strength and real power and momentum in being tied to someone who really knows what they're doing. And that's what Holton represents. Everyone likes to talk about how much money he's made personally, except for Holton. Holton never wants to talk about that. What he likes to talk about is how many people he's helped to make money, the 45 millionaires that he made over the last decade. And that doesn't include the number of people that made between 100,000 and 999, right? And all the people who made tens of thousands. So one of the things that's super unique here is that you have folks who are dual qualified in the sense that they have corporate experience and they have network marketing experience. And you have a leader in Holton Bugs who is passionate about teaching other people how to win.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
I may need you back.
I'll be right
Depending on the
back.
questions.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, so let me wrap this up here with that part of it, okay? Because I don't want to just drag that one on, but that's critical. The reason that I bring them on is you don't have startups come with this level of experience. So we've got a 20-year-old travel company. We've got 35 years of experience in the travel industry. I've been doing it for 29 years. T. Gray, how many years of networking, T. Gray?
Since 2016, sorry.
16 years. Mark started with me. We've been 14 years, all the corporate experience, and not having a financial issue whatsoever. So what part of this is a startup outside of the name IBuumerang? And so our name was registered that we revealed on March 8th, and that's the only thing about our company that's new. And so not only that, my first thing that I did when I started IBuumerang is I knew how fast we were going to build it. So I bought an existing company that already had a customer service team that had been around for 18 years, already had the technology, already had the merchant accounts. All right. And so we made that partnership. So this is not a new thing. So my thing is this here, guys, and even on this call, my goal here is not to sell you. I don't sell IBuumerang. I don't sell network marketing. My goal is to share information. And even if you go use this, I want you to be wiser with your next opportunity, whether it's network marketing or not. So anything I'm sharing here is not to convince you to join us. That's not what this is all about. It's to give you an insight so that you can be a part of at least the mindset of what's going on here. But the last question I'll ask you is this. Do you know that more distributors are unsuccessful than companies? So why is it that we still recruit people when they've got a 90-something% chance of not making money? We still enroll them. we still go and say, hey, listen, come join this. Even though I know you got a 90-something% chance of losing, you enroll them anyway. Why? Because that's called capitalism. And anytime somebody's going to guarantee you a floor where you can't fail, that means they're also going to guarantee you a ceiling, which means you will not excel. And so I want the ability to fail. I'm so glad that we can fall flat on our face and be the biggest embarrassment in the industry. Because without that, we couldn't be the biggest thing that we're planning to be in the industry.